Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thursday, April 7th edition of the NHL Grinders live show. I'm your host for today, Sean PSU Fans 2 Newsham. Joining me, per usual, I feel it's been recent, is Timothy Buell. Tim, how's it going on this Thursday?
Good. I'm not yet on MLB tilt, but I'm sure I will be in the next few hours.
It doesn't take long. Baseball for me is the most tilting sport because if you have a hitter, right, it's event based, and your hitter or your batter is going to come up once an hour. So like if your guy comes up, like flies out to left field on his first pitch, you're just sitting there for the next hour, like just tilting. So I definitely understand the MLB tilt. What is your biggest tilt in the MLB?
When your pitcher gets knocked out of the game in the first couple of innings, and the rest of your night is ruined.
There's literally no coming back from that.
There's no coming back from that. That's actually one of the reasons why I like hockey so much, is because you can have a zero in your lineup. You can't have that in NBA. You can't have that in MLB from a pitcher.
It's definitely way more detrimental in those for sure.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. So we are running our contest per usual on our YouTube. Make sure you hit the like button on the YouTube and leave a comment on the video with a guess at how many DraftKings points the highest scorer will get tonight. The winner of that contest will receive a free week of Rotogrinders premium combo subscription. And then also, if you guys are looking for more of a sports betting feel on things coming up, especially with baseball starting and the Masters going, we've got you covered at scoresandodds.com, your number one place for all things sports betting. Check it out for daily expert picks, analysis, and tools that will help make you a better sports bettor. Did you put anything out there today, Tim, baseball or hockey related?
Yeah, I have a few bets down. I bet Juan Soto to hit a home run plus 400. I have Manny Machado for over 1.5 hits for plus 155. I have Kevin Hayes over 2.5 shots, which is a prop that I've been riding for the last 3 or 4 games that keeps coming in. That's minus 105 on DK. Oh, I think that's all I can remember for now. I had one more prop that I put in my Tides Takes articles that's featured on Scores and Odds.
Nice. Yeah. So everyone make sure you check that out, get some of Tim's picks. There's a lot of other picks as well. So going into the NHL slate tonight, which you guys are all here for, we have a 10-game slate that we are going to break down for you. We will start first off with the Pittsburgh Penguins against New York Rangers. Your boy Igor Shesterkin is expected to be in net tonight for the Rangers, despite it not being confirmed. So we'll start with the home team of the Rangers. What's your thoughts on New York tonight? Obviously, this game is one of the lower total games of the night. I'm not seeing much based on pricing and expected goals here.
Yeah, no, there's this Rangers team. They seem to not want to. They just don't play in a lot of shootouts. They're just not a team that I want to attack on such a large slate. I'll say it. I say it every show. I say it every time anybody talks about hockey, is that you can play Panarin. He's under 6K on DK, which is a little bit too cheap. But I just don't think that there's anything that we really have to have for the Rangers tonight. Ryan Strome is 3,500. So that second line for the Rangers with Strome and Panarin, and they also correlate on the first power play unit too. So they are a viable 2-man stat.
All right. On the Pittsburgh side of things, again, we have some very high price points. Top 5 guys for them, aka the guys you're mainly going to be interested in playing, are all above 6K. Is there anyone on Pittsburgh that stands out to you at all? Jeff Carter looks a little appealing to me based on his price point, but outside of him, I don't see much that I like on the Penguins.
Yeah, this really depends on who's going to be the goalie for the Rangers. If it's Gorgiev, I really like the idea of getting to Rust and Getzel. And of course, you can throw in Crosby if you want to, but I prefer just as wingers. But if it's Shesterkin and net, which is what we're projecting, then I say you play Shesterkin in your optimal cash game type builds.
Definitely. All right, next game we have the Philadelphia Flyers traveling to Columbus to face the Blue Jackets. Columbus is minus 131 here. We'll start with the away Philadelphia Flyers on this one. Goes right into what you were talking about with Kevin Hayes. You want to talk a little bit about that one?
Yeah, sure. So these two teams just played, I think, on Tuesday when we had our last show, and they were very, very cheap. Some of them paid off their price tag. Some of them didn't. They're priced up a little bit heavier than they were 2 days ago, but I still think Owen Tippett and Kevin Hayes for a combined of 7,200 on the second line is my favorite. There isn't really, but I mean, Cam Atkinson didn't really have his revenge game that we were hoping for in their last meeting. And like I said in the show, he was very high owned, and that concerns me again today. So, you know, he's a really good player. He's in a good matchup, but I don't think you have to get to him today.
For sure. All right. On the Columbus side, Werenski's obviously back, and he is quite expensive, especially for a defender. His minutes did come down from the 28 he played in his first game back. He only played 25 the other night against Boston. He was able to get an assist and had 4 shots on goal along with a block, but overall wasn't sort of the explosive game that you want from someone that you're paying $7,300 for. So is there anyone on the Blue Jackets that stands out to you at all?
It's really just this top line, but I would not consider them a priority. You know, you could, you know, I think Werenski's too expensive for this size of a slate. I think you could one-off line A, or you could pair him with his line mates, but really this game to me is not a huge priority.
Definitely. All right. From one high-priced defenseman to another, we go to the Nashville Predators minus 169 against the Ottawa Senators. Roman Josi was able to rebound sort of off his 2 really cold games against Buffalo and Ottawa. However, his minutes were down, but I attribute that to the blowout a bit. It was 6-2. So I don't think that it was necessarily any reason for him to be under like the 25-minute mark. Do you like him as a more pay-up defenseman, or again, we're looking at other more elite level players on the slate that we'll get to later that you could spend on instead?
Yeah, so I think an onslaught stack of the Predators today is a really good play. If you can find some cheap filler lines that you want to, like go Roman Josi, Forsberg, Duchesne. I think, I mean, they're still trying to hang on to their last little bit of playoff spot. So, I mean, this game is very, very, very important to them. And I think that if you do, I wouldn't one-off Josi is my point. I would play him with the other power play 1 guys or top line guys. And that would be the strategy that I would take.
Now, will your strategy change at all? So currently Batherson and Stutzel are game time decisions for tonight. If we get news that both of them are to miss the game, will that impact how you handle either the Nashville side of things or Ottawa, knowing that other people are going to get increased minutes?
No, I don't think that's really going to move the needle for me that much. You know, like we always talk about, it's not really like basketball. You know, we don't have to immediately shift all that usage somewhere else. I think that really doesn't do that much for this game. For
sure. All right, next game, we have Montreal traveling to New Jersey. New Jersey is a minus 162 favorite on the home ice. Decent total in this game as well. So we'll start with the Devils. Jack Hughes has been ruled out for the remainder of the season. It looked like he sprained his MCL and he will not return. Really good goal expectancy here from the Devils, around 3.72 goals expected currently for the Devils. So what do you like on the Devils tonight?
So my favorite two plays would be Jesper Bratt and Dougie Hamilton. Uh, Now, just so everybody knows that this is going to be a very, very popular team. So keep that in mind when you're making your GPP lineups. Now, it's popular for a reason. The Canadians are the worst defensive team in the NHL. So, take that for what you want. I would just, if I'm making 20, maybe I put them in, these top guys, these top six, maybe I put them in 6 or 7. I mean, it's hockey. It's a lot like baseball. You don't have to get too crazy. There's no like one smash play like in basketball that you have to have. So don't forget about the second line for the Devils too. You got Andres Johnson and Dawson Mercier. That's a really, really cheap 2-man. That's going to be much lower owned than the top line. And then, of course, on the other side of this game, you wait because he's just too cheap, and Mike Hoffman.
For sure. All right. On the Montreal, like you talked about with Hoffman, you have Cole Caulfield. His price has sort of gone down a little bit at 4,600. He does have goals in back-to-back games, though. So with these guys, I know their price points are relatively lower. Are they some of the people that you are more looking to go for from a cheap perspective tonight, or are you looking to move that salary elsewhere if you have a choice?
No, I mean, I think that this would be a game that I'd be looking to get that cheap salary relief from. If I'm trying to do that Predators onslaught stack or other games that we'll get to later, I think this is the, some cheap pieces from the Devils or cheap pieces from Montreal. This is the game where I want to get that value from most likely.
All right, next game. Speaking of revenge games, Buffalo Sabres were able to divvy out some revenge to you on Tuesday, Tim, by going out there and just thrashing the Carolina Panthers or Carolina Hurricanes, showcasing why they're the best team in the league, and everyone should sort of respect that. So we get a rematch of this game. I'm going to assume that you've changed your tune and decided that all the Sabres are in play tonight.
I have not changed my tune at all. They are still far too expensive for this matchup, and even in the game that they won, they really didn't pay off their salary. So that top line for Buffalo is just way too expensive. But on a more serious note, like we talked about pre-show, the Sabres are playing tremendous hockey. So maybe we don't want to attack them at the rate that we think we should, given that their overall record. Which makes the Hurricanes not a priority for me.
I think something with hockey that people don't understand is it's a bit streakier than other sports, and it's a bit like you're just going to get some chances where like a team can get hot for a stretch of 10 to 15 games. Even so, like let's say the Sabres are viewed as one of the worst teams in the league. A lot of the time, that means they're going to get backup goalies. They might see a rest spot out of someone that maybe wouldn't have otherwise. So you see some openings in those spots that you maybe wouldn't otherwise. All right, on the Carolina side, what do you think with the Hurricanes?
If I want anybody from the Hurricanes today, it's Svechnikov, D'Angelo, and Vincent Trocheck. They all correlate on the first power play unit. I mean, I really think that the Hurricanes are pretty embarrassed about that loss and that they're really going to put it to the Sabres today. That being said, from a DFS perspective, however, the Hurricanes are a very deep team. They don't just have, it's not just like a top 6 unit that the scoring is condensed to 6 guys. It's not. So from a DFS perspective, you don't have to play the Hurricanes. I think that they're a good GPP play, but not a great one.
For sure. All right, next game, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs traveling to Dallas, but Toronto is minus 154 favorite. So we'll start with the Leafs here. Austin Matthews is the most expensive player on the slate, just ahead of McDavid. Do you view him as the top play on the slate tonight?
He is, I believe, our top projected skater. This is a constant debate, that I always have when these two are on the slate in my single entry play is Matthews or McDavid. And I think, again, I'm going to go with McDavid, but if you're purely just playing 50-50s or double ups, I think Matthews is probably safer for more raw points. Like, if you're not worried about correlation or ceiling, then I think Matthews is your cash game play. But me personally tonight, I'm probably going to roster McDavid.
Yeah, and so the thing is, I think people need to understand this is that Matthews is always probably going to project slightly better due to his historical shot volume compared to McDavid. However, as Tim and I talked about on Tuesday, McDavid's been shooting the puck a lot recently. And if that is something that remains consistent, and let's say he stays a shot a game above what his normal historical database would show, it would mean that he's probably going to exceed what his expected production is going to be just based on shot volume. So just something for people to keep in mind that a lot of the projections are going to be based on historical information that maybe people will exceed over a certain period of time.
And Draisaitl, we don't know his status tonight. He was ruled out last game. That's going to make a difference, and that's just probably more shots potential for McDavid on the power play. Even though it definitely hurts the Oilers as a whole. But yeah, I mean, that's another thing that we just don't know yet.
For sure. All right. On the Dallas side of things, again, the Leafs can give up some goals here, and Dallas is at home. So is there anyone that you like on the Dallas Stars tonight?
For me, with the Stars, it's always just that top line. Hintz, Robertson, Pavelski. Hallgren got hurt last game, so it's probably going to be Campbell tonight. Campbell was good to start the year and then just fell right off a cliff. And so, I mean, this Maple Leafs team, they just struggle. They struggle quite a bit on the defensive end. So if you want to play some Stars, it's really just that top line for me.
All right.
One thing I do want to just say real quick is, like you pointed out last slate, Jake Muzzin is back, and 2,700 is still way too cheap for him, even though this isn't the best matchup. But if you're playing cash games or just want a little bit of correlation with Matthews, then I think you should roster him.
For sure. All right. Next game, we have Seattle traveling to Chicago to face the Blackhawks. Chicago is minus 150. We'll start with the Blackhawks in this one. Patrick Kane and DeBrincat are both relatively expensive. However, I do like Kane quite a bit tonight in this matchup. What is your thoughts on Chicago as a whole?
Yeah, so this is a really tremendous spot for Chicago. Seattle's playing on the second half of a road back-to-back. Seattle is one of the worst teams in the NHL. The only issue that I have with the Blackhawks tonight is going to be ownership. They are probably going to be Chicago 1 is probably going to be the highest owned stack tonight. So just be responsible with your teams when you're building your GPP lineups, that you're aware of that. I'm not saying don't play them, but they are priced through the nose. So, you have to be aware of that. I mean, Alex DeBrincat, 7,900. That's a tough price to ask, despite the good matchup. I might say to go down to like a Taylor Reddish, Taze, that second line for Chicago, who are going to be way lower owned than the first line, and you still get exposure to a really good matchup.
For sure. All right. On the Seattle side, we have a team that really struggles to produce DFS stats when you look through that of Seattle. Is there anyone that you like at all in this match against Chicago?
Nobody that I really love, but I mean, I do roster Jared McCann way more than I should. Chicago is not a very good defensive team, so getting exposure to Seattle is not a horrible idea. So I would go with like Jared McCann, Vince Dunn, who's a cheap power play or on the cheaper end of a power play quarterback. And then you have Adam Larson, who's got good peripherals, who plays for the Kraken. He's only 3,200. I think he's a good value defenseman.
All right. Next game, we have Vancouver against Arizona. Vancouver is a minus 180 favorite. However, I think there's definitely some things to be taken into consideration here. We get Arizona at home. Vancouver is not really playing for tons here. You have Quinn Hughes out for them as well as Brock Besser. So what's your thoughts on this game in general as a whole? And what are you thinking from the Arizona side of things?
So Hari Sateri is my favorite GPP goalie. He's 6,800. I believe you said he may have not played since 17-18. But I mean, he is a veteran goalie, so I think that he makes a lot of sense for a larger field format. Definitely not for cash games, but for GPPs, definitely. But I think there's a lot to like for some cheap pieces for Arizona. There is Phil Kessel, who's still hanging around.
Kessel still does what you expect him to do. Sometimes he will get you production, and at 3,100, the risk is relatively small.
Yeah, and like, you know, Nick Ritchie's on the first power play unit for min price. Cam Dineen, who's a young defenseman for the Coyotes, who I've been rostering a ton. He's 2,800. He's been playing around 20 minutes a game. He's blocking shots. He's shooting the puck. I think he's got assists in 3 straight games. I've been really impressed with this play just from watching. He's a really good piece. I really like the Coyotes tonight as filler pieces. On the other side of this game, I really do like JT Miller. I really like, I think he's a good play tonight. The Coyotes are just such a bad defensive team.
Definitely. All right, on the next game, we have the Edmonton Oilers traveling to LA to face the Kings. Edmonton's minus 127 here. As you talked about, the big news here is Leon Draisaitl. He did take morning skate today, so we are expecting him to play as of now. But make sure that you follow along with that in the Discord. I'm sure Moneyball 16 Enstema will post that once they find out whether or not he's in. So make sure you check that. So we'll start with the Edmonton side and Connor McDavid. Again, his shot total did come down a little bit against San Jose. However, it was still at 4 shots. And the thing with McDavid that I always love is his minutes are always fantastic because they just need him to realistically be competitive in the games. So what is your thoughts on Edmonton to start this game?
Well, I mean, this is my favorite game of the night from DFS. I think you get away from a lot of the ownership of a team like Chicago, a team like New Jersey. Not to say that those games aren't good plays, but I really like this McDavid, Puljujarvi, Kane line. That they're my favorite line for GPPs. And then on the other side of the game, my favorite line, my other, cheaper type line is Kopitar, Iafallo, and Kemke. So I'm definitely going to be, having my team backloaded for the late night hammer.
Now, are you looking to sort of bring it back in this game and sort of double stack both sides in this one?
Well, I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to load it up with Kings. So I think it's going to be LA1 plus Dursey. And then, one-offing and maybe if I can, another piece with McDavid like Puljujarvi. That's what I'm looking to do today. That was my first instinct. These two teams just played. The Oilers beat them 4-3 in a shootout. The Kings outplayed them, however, in Edmonton. So I actually bet the Kings outright as home dogs tonight too. So I'm really, really heavy on LA tonight. That LA1 plus Thursday stack. That's my favorite. And of course, if you don't want to do LA1, LA2 is in a really good spot too. Victor Arvidsson, that's a really good 2-man also. So I'm my favorite team tonight's the Kings.
For sure. All right. Last game of the night, we have the Calgary Flames traveling to San Jose to face the Sharks. Calgary comes in at minus 182 as of right now. We'll start with the Flames. You have a bit of a price tag on Gaudreau, Lindholm, Tkachuk. What's your thoughts on Calgary going into this game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not real bullish on Calgary tonight. For me, they're a lot like Carolina Hurricanes. They're a better real life team than they are a DFS team because of their depth. They have so up and down their lineup. They have so many people that can score. So for me, it's, you can play them. Obviously, they are the far superior team over the Sharks, but in terms of a DFS ceiling, I'm not there. I have a lot more interest in Timo Meier on the other side of this game because of his tremendous shot floor. He had 9 shots in his last game. His floor is tremendous. So I think if you build a team and you have 7K for a winger and you land on him, I'd much prefer him over like Lindholm or Gaudreau in this game.
Yeah, and Meyer plays well as a one-off because people aren't really going to be touching that of San Jose. So if you get Meyer to go off for, let's say, 25, 30 points, that could really stand out because other people aren't going to be there.
Right. I mean, he is like always so good for GPPs because the Sharks as a whole are pretty horrible.
Yeah.
So people don't.
I mean, yeah, you look at and he's averaging a really solid almost 16 points per game this year, which is right up there with among the top people, not the quite elite guys, but below them despite being on a poor team.
Right. Yeah.
All right. That wraps up for all the games tonight. How about any other goalies or goalie thoughts overall for tonight, Tim?
So for cash games, single entry, it's Shesterkin, assuming that he is starting. My favorite GPP is Hari Satari, who is already confirmed as the starter for Arizona tonight. Saros, and I think as ugly as it is, you can go with Jonathan Quick.
All right, then how about any value pieces that you see? Any value pieces that maybe we haven't discussed thus
far? Let me take a look real quick because there was one.
And to summarize, we did bring up a few already with Kessel, with some of the LA guys, Cam Atkinson. We already have touched on some of them as well. So there's definitely quite a bit of value out there already.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of value tonight. There always is an NHL. I'm pretty excited for this slate, so I think we've pretty much covered it.
All right, everyone, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Remember that we have our contest going on the YouTube. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button on our YouTube and leave a comment tonight with who you think the highest score will be, and then add how many points you think the highest score will have on the night. The person closest to the highest overall score will win a free week of the Rotogrinders premium subscription. We'll be back next Tuesday. Actually, I won't. I will be out of town next week. So Tim maybe will be back on Tuesday.
I will be here on Tuesday.
There we go. Tim's here on Tuesday. I will be back the following week. So good luck to everyone tonight. Good luck while I'm out of town. And we will see you guys later. For Tim, I'm Sean. Good luck.